everybody, Motion back again. Today I'm going to do one of my how-to videos. I'm going to show you how to rebuild your carburetors. As you can see with these, they're a bit whiffy and seen better days. The slides aren't working as good as they probably should. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to rebuild one of them. And once you know how to rebuild one of them, you know how to rebuild all of them basically. They're all exactly the same. I'm not going to bother separating all the carbs, because 90% of the time you don't need to do it to get the unless you want to do like a show style clean and make them look like they've just come out the factory. You don't really need to do it. If you want them to just work and look serviceable, you don't need it at all. You can do it all connected. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off by, you take the bowl off the bottom. Now I've already come in and have I got the wrong end? Yes I have, sorry, my mistake. Take these screws. I've already cracked the screws off, so it should be nice and easy. What I'm going to do, got a little tub of petrol here. And really, ideally, you should use carb cleaner, but petrol works well as well. So, I'm going to drop all your components into the petrol. Now, obviously, petrol won't hurt it, because petrol is what it sees every day of its serviceable life. So it's a perfectly normal substance for it to come into contact with. But it's just a solvent like any carb cleaner would be. Now take all your screws, put them in there, get your bowl off. As you can see, bottom of the bowl is like a sludgy crap where water and whatnot has got in. So just drop that in there with the rest of your bits. Get your check that your float is working as it should. So this one's working okay, but even still, I want to get it out. Could do with a set of pliers. There we go. Then we'll just get hold of the end if we can and push it out. Be quite gentle with this, because you don't want to break anything or damage anything. If you put any scratches on this little rod, it'll make it stick and it won't work properly. You drop that in there. Gently pull your float out, because it'll have your needle valve hanging from the underneath of it, and you don't want to lose anything in there. Check that your spring and that works okay. Yep, go in there. Now inside the body of the carb, you'll have an idle jet, which will be down in that hole down there. Then your main jet there. You're going to take them two out. You're going to need a flathead screwdriver, quite a small one, and also like a medium sized one. If I had any sense, I would have done all this before I started the video, but hey ho, there we go. Anyway, just carefully crack the jet loose and hold it up to the light. Check you can see light through it. Now it'll only be a tiny bit, because obviously it's only a very tiny jet. Note the size of note the number on the side of the jet, so you can check it amongst the others and amongst the manual, and see whether at some point in the life the bike's been upjetted or not. Might come in useful at a later date. Get your screwdriver and carefully crack loose the idle jet and screw that out. Yeah, is that loose? And it's quite stubborn. Try again. There we go. Careful not to lose it. And then there is your idle jet. Have a look, make sure it's all okay. Again, if you can, look for the number and take note for later. 35. Put that in there. Now, to the top end of the carb. What you want to do, flip it over. Get your screwdriver again. You can take the diaphragm cover off. Just 4 screws in your little wash bin again, like all the others. Like that, and carefully lift the top off. Careful not to lose your spring. That can go in there. Now pull your diaphragm out gently. On most bikes you'll notice there'll be a little tab. There isn't on this one, but usually you'll have a little notch that'll line up with a notch on here, so there'll be a specific orientation inside the carb. But put that to the side, because you don't want to get petrol on that, because it might deform. And then you'll have trouble getting it back on. Now while you leave them to soak, you can get your carb and put it in your tub of petrol. Get yourself a paintbrush, and you can give your carb a good old scrub down in the petrol, making sure that you get right inside it, into all the areas where the workings go, and getting all the crap out and into your gasket seats, making sure they're all so into your idle circuit inlets and your vacuum inlets, cleaning up your butterfly valve, getting all the deposits off of that and around your mechanisms. Right, I'm going to give this a good scrub and I'll come back to you in a minute. Right, now as we can see, I've cleaned that up, spotlessly clean, not a mark on it. As you can, look how clean that is compared to like the other three. Now that you've done that, you can start cleaning your components, putting them back together. Starting with the throttle slide. What I tend to do, get a bit of, there we are. Really, it's not that advisable to use gasket sealant on your carburetors, but it can help with when it comes to seating your diaphragm. It's the only time I'll ever use it, because if you use it on your float bowls, if you do what I've done before, use it on the float bowl, what can happen is you'll get the bits of gasket glue break off inside the float and get stuck in your jets and block your car while you're riding. So it's not advisable. It's one of them mistakes you only ever make once. So there you go. Now what I always do, get your rag, inspect your needle, make sure your needle's all clean. Feel free to dab a bit of petrol on a rag, give it a good clean up if you need to. Just be careful not to get it on the diaphragm. Give that a good scrub. Hold your diaphragm away so you don't get anything on that, and give this a good old scrub down. Get any old residues off it, or corrosion, or anything, because you want this to be nice and free inside the carb. You don't want it sticking at all. Clean it all up like that. There we go. Wipe down with a clean side of the rag. There we go. So you've got a nice, spotless, clean diaphragm. Now you can put this back into the carb, making sure you get the slide orientated the correct way. It should just drop straight in if you got it correct. See? Like that. What you want to do? Tricky bit. Getting your diaphragm to seat back in, how it come out. This is always a pain, this is. This is the reason why I got gasket glue, because this can be a right arse to get in. Thankfully, this one's gone in okay. Then get your spring. Oh. Dry your spring off so you ain't got no fuel in there. Like that. Pop your spring back in the top. Get your carb cover. Diaphragm cover even. Give that a good old wipe down. Get any petrol off it. Nice good clean up. Like that. Then you can pop that. Make sure it's seated in your spring. Pop that back on top. Get your screws. Should be 4 of them. Yep. I tend to even dry them off if I can. There we go. Then push it, diaphragm cap back down, making sure it's all lined up. Then tighten up screws. Put one in, then you can take your hand off while you put the rest in. Like that. Just nip your screws up a little bit. Don't need to be over tight, and just nipped up. Now, test your working correctly. You see that? Opens and closes back up, as should. Whereas one or two of these might stick. See, that's quite slow, and that's quite a bit quicker. Now you've done all that, what you need to do, start getting your components, putting them back together. Check that your jets are clear. Might need to blow your jet out. So that looks clear. You can always do, get your brush and just push the bristles through the jet. A lot of people use like a single bristle for wire brush. But I don't like to do that, purely on the basis that it's quite possible to open out the hole on the jet, which will send all your fuel in off. So if it's avoidable, I prefer not to. See, there we are. It's got all the crap out. Spanking. Dry it off. You can show you don't get no fluff or nothing off the rag in there. Sweet. Screw that back in. Just nip it up. Now, idle jet. Same process. Check it's not blocked. Unfortunately, this one is quite blocked. So, give it a good old... pain in the arse. I'll give this a clean out and come back to you in a minute. There we go. You can see the hole through the bottom now. Got that cleared out. Sorry about that. Make sure all the holes are clear, the ones on the sides. And the one at the bottom. Sweet. Again, remember to note the number. So that's a 35. Drop it in your idle hole. Find where you put your fucking screwdriver. Normally helps. There you go. Nip that back up, doesn't need to be too tight. And then get your float and the other rag. Clean that off, get any rubbish off it, any residue, anything like that. But be careful, because they're quite delicate. If you put any holes in it, it will just sink, it won't float. Look at that, and then Right, pop that on to the side somewhere clean. Get your needle valve again, carefully clean that off. What I tend to do, double check your spring's working properly, which it is. Make sure it slides up and down in there freely, which it does. Now the fun bit, hook your needle valve back over the float, drop that into there, then get your pin, clean that off, and put your pin back in like that. Check it all is operating as it should do, which it is. Now, last thing to do, get your bowl, clean all the crap out of the bowl, get your paintbrush if you need to do, just give it a good old scrub out, make sure it's good and clean, nothing left in there. Problem is, you see, carburetors are very precision instruments, and if they're not absolutely spotless, it only takes one little grain of grit or some crap or something like that to get into one of the jets, and it'll block it, and then you'll get one carb that's not working correctly, and the whole bike will run like crap then, because you'll get one cylinder that won't run as it should do, and so on. Just make the bike generally run like shit. A good carburetor, clean and balance, can work wonders for a bike, both on how it idles, throttle response, even in certain cases if it's really bad, it can add power. So really does pay to make sure that you do a good job of this. As I can see, I've still missed some there, so get well in there. It's right down in that little hole right there. Get your rag and dry it off. There we go, that's got it all. Then all you got to do is pop your float bowl back on, just like that. Then get your 4 screws. One, two, three, 4. Then just screw them up. Try not to be a complete idiot. Try and do them from opposite corners so it screws down evenly. Just nipping them up. You don't want to over tighten them, because then it comes to getting them out again, you're gonna have problems. Just like that. There you go. One cleaned, serviced carburetor, ready for the next use. What I do tend to do is just put tiny spray of Plus Gas WD-40, some for the type, into the slide, just to ease its movement a bit. Won't harm it in any way. Just keeps it nice and free while it's in storage or whatever. And that's it. One carburettor rebuild. Now all you got to do is go through and do the other 3. Simple as, guys. Hope this has been helpful. I shall see you in the next vlog or how-to guide. Take it easy. Try.